Time for another fixing faulty eBay junk video, and it's been quite a while since I last made one of these, and if you're not familiar with the format, it's basically where I go on the internet, usually just on eBay, find something cheap and faulty, buy it in the hope of repairing it, so then I can either keep it for myself, or maybe I'll sell it on, make a bit of profit, and then buy something I actually do want. So this particular item I bought quite a while ago. It's actually two items, and as you can see here, the date is 18th of April 2015, and as I make this video it's now January 2016, so this thing has actually been sitting in my storage box for, well, best part of a year now almost. So desperate to try and get this thing out of the package and see what it's like, but I would usually show you the original listing, but it's actually been so long now that this is no longer active on eBay, so the best I can do is show you the purchase history and just give the overview of what I paid and everything here. So yeah, I'll tell you what it is first. It's two faulty non-working Nintendo wristwatches. It's a Zelda and a Starfox watch, and the price I paid was $17.99 with £2.85 postage, so roughly around £21 in total. I'll just show you what that is in US dollars if you're interested. So 21 British pounds is around 30 US dollars. And I have seen these watches in good condition sell and working, sell on eBay for around anywhere from 40 to 60 pounds. It's basically the same for both the Zelda and the Starfox watch. So hopefully if I can get these working, I might keep them for myself. I don't really have too much nostalgia for Starfox or Zelda, but if they're interesting enough I might keep them for myself, but we'll see. So I'll start rambling. I've got the package here. We'll get this opened up. We can take a look at what kind of condition they're in, what we're dealing with. Hopefully, well, I'm hoping it's just going to be a case of getting them cleaned up, put new batteries in them, and they should work okay, but you never know what you're dealing with faulty stuff from eBay. It could be water damage, it could have been, I don't know, damaged electrically somehow, but yeah, we'll see. So I'll get to opening this up and we can take a look. So I've now removed them from their packaging, and as you can see they're in pretty good condition. So I'll start with the Zelda one here first, and they don't really look like they've been worn. They've got a few scuffs on them, but overall they're in really good condition. So that's the Zelda watch there, and you've got the little Link character there. I'm not sure what kind of game this is. You can see blocks on the screen, so I'm not too sure. It's got Zelda written on the strap there, and Nintendo on the other part there. If you turn it over, it's made by Xeon. These are officially licensed. This one's been made by Xeon, and it looks as though, well, that one's gone a bit rusty, so that's not such a good sign. There's a screw missing from here, so we need to take a closer look at that. Hopefully there's no water damage or anything to it. And this one here is the Starfox unit, and as you can see it's got buttons on the side and buttons on the front. This looks like one of those old school LCD games. Maybe it's one where you're flying about or something, and it's got Starfox written on the strap there with some stars, and Nintendo on the top part of the strap. Again, this doesn't look like it's really been worn, at least not much anyway. It's in pretty good condition. And in the back of this one it's actually marked copyright 1993, so these are both from like the early 90s. And again, this one's missing a screw just here, which is not the best sign, but what I'll do now is I'll take the backs off of these and we can just have a quick look and see if putting new batteries in it makes any difference. Hopefully it's just as simple as changing the batteries. I've now managed to get the backs off both of the watches, and this one was a bit tricky because the little screw on it, you probably won't be able to see this, but the little screw here, this one's all gnarled up on the top, so I had to use a knife to get it going, and then I used my snips here just to grab onto it and gently take it off. But underneath, the watch looks like it's in pretty good condition. There's no visible like water damage or dirt or anything in there, and it's the same with the Starfox one. Actually looks in really good condition. This one here has a little rubber gasket that goes in there, so hopefully if there was any water, this gasket would have kept that out. But yeah, next thing to do is take these batteries out and just test them with new batteries. If I can find some batteries somewhere, I need to go and look. I managed to dig out some spare batteries from my parts bin, and I found the correct one to go in the Zelda watch here. And I tried it out, and nothing happened, which is a bit disappointing. But when I was replacing the battery, I put it in this little holder here, and I thought it was a bit strange because there's a terminal here for the positive. I've taken this apart a little more just to show you. There's a terminal touching the positive of the battery, but there was none for the negative, and I thought that can't be right. So I ended up taking this black piece off here, and sure enough, underneath, you can just see on the board here, there's a negative terminal, but it's quite badly corroded around this kind of area, and there's, well, I'm guessing there used to be a leg or something that stuck out and went underneath the battery here. So what I'm going to do is just clean this up a bit, and maybe I'll solder on a little makeshift leg and retest it and see if that makes any difference. And over on the Starfox unit, I found the correct battery and I put that in, but this is still dead at the moment as well. So what I'll do is I'll leave that one for later, and I'll just focus on this one for now and see if adding in a little terminal there might bring it back to life. So my plan of attack is going to be to try and add in this little piece of metal here, just from here to here. And what I ended up doing was going into one of my parts bins and finding something I thought I could use. And what I found was this here. I think this is from a PlayStation 3 Blu-ray laser assembly. So this is the laser that reads the disc, and it sits in rails and goes across. But as you can see, this thing is made up of lots of little pieces of plate, sheet metal, really thin, perfect for what I want. And I just found a piece that I thought would work, and I cut it to size, and I've ended up with this little piece here. Had to flatten it down a bit as well. But I'm just going to solder it in place here, going across, and hopefully that will create the new negative battery terminal that I need. So next up, I'm going to fire up the soldering iron and get that placed in there. Fast forward about another 10 minutes, and I've had to slightly modify my design, and instead of using the piece of metal from the laser housing here, I've instead used a little piece of copper from this thing here, which is it's like an audio jack from a phone. So I just broke off one of these little copper contacts and soldered it directly onto the main board here. And it's not pretty, but it should do the job. And I also had to just make a little bit more clearance on this piece of plastic here, and this is the part that sits on top of it like that. So next thing I'll do is I'll reassemble it all, put a new battery in, and we can test out if that's actually fixed it or not. Fully reassembled, and time for the moment of truth. Did replacing that battery terminal fix the watch? So let's turn it over and find out. And as you can maybe just about see, it's come back to life and it seems to be fully functional again. I will need to put in some good quality batteries, but as you can hear and almost see on the screen, it is working again. And the reason it's quite dim is because I'm just using these cheapo pound shop batteries, and they never seem to come with a full charge. But yeah, next thing I'll do is I'll order up some good quality batteries for this. But yeah, it seems to be working fine, and I'm very happy with that. So on to the Starfox watch next. Just like the Zelda watch, the Starfox watch didn't seem to do anything when I put in a new battery. So what I've done is I've taken it apart a little further, and just like the other watch, if I can maybe show you this here, I've found that there's a bit of corrosion on the main board here, and there's actually a little broken trace just here. So from here to here will need to be bridged. I haven't found any other damage in the board, but I've tested it all out with the multimeter and done a continuity test, and yeah, that seems to be a broken trace. So what I'll do now is I'll get out the soldering iron again, and we'll try and bridge that little solder gap, or that little trace gap on the main board there, and hopefully that'll bring the watch back to life. Now repaired that trace, and what I did is I just got a single strand of really fine electrical wire here, and I just bridge the gap with that. Again, it's not pretty, but it should do the job and it should be secure enough. I've tested it all out again with the multimeter, and it all seems to be fine. So let's get this reassembled and we can test it out. Moment of truth number 2. Did repairing that trace fix the Starfox watch? So let's turn it over and find out. And as you can see, yes it did. It's working perfectly. You can see it's just playing through its demo mode there, and it's one of those sort of like the old school racing car games where you're dodging things coming towards you, but with this you can also shoot at them as well. But overall, very, very happy, and I'm going to have to replace some screws in the back of this as well, and maybe put some new batteries in it. But yep, now I've got myself 2 fully working Nintendo retro watches. So I think I'm actually going to keep these. What I'll do is like I say, I'll put new batteries in both of them, and I'll give them a good clean. But yeah, very, very happy for my about £10 a watch investment. Yeah, I think I got a good deal. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again soon. Let's see if we can play some of this one. I think you can also shoot by pressing this button here, but it's quite tricky with one hand. But yeah.